Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. It's Monday. We're kicking off the week. The hats are on. It's cold in the UK this week. All right. I'm going to moan about it every day. Suck it up. But look, we're going to run through all the FA Cup results this weekend. United, of course, beating Leicester on Friday. Well, they made hard work of that. And it was a weekend where you could just sit back, relax, and watch Liverpool lose to Plymouth. I'll take that. City game. It's a cracking goal by Leighton Orient, but they couldn't go through with it. Spurs, obviously being Spurs. Chelsea getting knocked out as well. Pretty good results as far as the FA Cup goes. What does that mean for us in the competition? We'll find out. But Ruben Amorim was speaking about the game after, so speaking about the FA Cup after the Leicester game. We're going to run through his comments. The fact that we're getting the results, sure, but we are not getting the performances, and Amorim wants more. We'll run through that. We'll speak about United's lack of intensity in games. I think I want to try and do a bit of a community, not a poll, but Q&A. That's what we're going to call it. Yeah, I'm going to run through the game and speak about this week ahead. It's going to be a big one. Well, maybe not a big one, but an important one. I'll explain why. Joe saying, what time does your podcast come out? It comes out at 9 o'clock every single morning, so an hour before the live show. Good morning to all the mods and the members. Have a quick look. Good morning to you, Carl, and Alex and Stephanie. Did it. I'm Potato there, gifted little chicken memberships as well. We've got Natasha, we've got Animation Core, Toby, we've got Akash, Ricky, JC. I see you there, dude. Nice to see you. Trout hunting in Northern Ireland. Why not? I used to do rainbow trout fishing with my dad. I'm not sure I ever caught one. Bad hair day? No, it's just cold. It's just cold, people. All right? Now, let's run through the results of the weekend. You get involved in the comments. How can you not just sit there and enjoy laughing at Liverpool for that yesterday? Let's be honest, their season's gone pretty much bang on so far, and there's not really been any chance to rib Liverpool, but they rested players. They got outplayed by Plymouth. And people are like, oh, Sam, like, just have some sort of self-awareness, all right? Look at United's performances. You can't really say anything. You know what I'm going to say?
We're going to do it anyway.
It's been a while.
We're going to do it anyway. We're going to...
Barry. Where's Barry been? It's been a long time since Barry's made a little cheeky appearance. But you are damn straight. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to point the finger and laugh at Liverpool for that. All right? And I'm not going to apologise for it in any way, shape or form. So Liverpool got knocked out and Spurs did. Not that really is... I said Spurs anyway. Of course, we're playing Spurs next, and I don't actually think that Postecoglou will get sacked. Type yes or no, right, in the comments. Do you think that Postecoglou will be Spurs' manager before... do you think Postecoglou will be in the dugout for the Spurs-United game? I think he probably will be. But their season has just kind of gone to pot. It went to pot a while ago, and they haven't been able to turn it around. Postecoglou hasn't. The players haven't. They were just easily second best yesterday. So I think he probably will be in for the game against United, but I don't know at what point Spurs sort of, I don't know, take the decision. Majority of you are all saying, yeah, he will be in the dugout. I think he probably will, but we'll find out. Of course, now, if you take a look at the FA Cup, these are the teams, well, the Premier League teams who are left in it. You've got City, who are outright favourites to win it, understandably. United are there second with 5-1, same as Newcastle. Villa are there, Brighton are still in it, Bournemouth are in it, Forest are in it. It's an opportunity for United. But there's an important thing I want to say here, right? I want to say. Important thing that I want to run through. Ruben Amorim saying about the FA Cup and about this season.
It was vital.
Let me turn that up here. That's why. Right. Let me turn that.
In the last season, it was vital in the last season for Manchester United going on in this competition. You still have that.
Yeah, but I don't see the things like that. I cannot focus just in saving the season or of the momentum with the cup. It's not the way I see football. It's not the way I see Manchester United. So
The FA Cup wouldn't be good enough this year for you, winning that.
It's everything. It's the performance. It's the result. I'm not thinking in the end of the season because the final is in the end of the season. I don't care about that. I care about the moment, and the moment is not good enough. So a good result. We move forward to.
Right. It's Amorim has. He kind of said this more. I think he said this more than once, or maybe this is the first time he has said it. But it's obvious to him that winning the FA Cup will not be the measure of whether this season is a success or not. And if you have that as sort of a parallel to what we were hearing from Erik ten Hag towards the end, well, not really towards the end, actually, the whole way through. It's just, again, direct and clear honesty from Amorim on what he considers a success this season. I don't even think winning the Europa League will make this season a success. I don't think there's... and this might be me sort of with hyperbole and exaggeration here. I genuinely don't think... No, that's a lie. What I would consider a success from this point is by May for United to be putting in consistent performances 2-3 times a week. Every single game, I'm like, there you go. That's what we saw the last game, but actually it's a little bit better. The progress in the performances is what I would consider a success between now and the end of the season. And of course, results will come with that. And this is something I said over the weekend as well. It is mind-boggling. It really is. It's so much so I did it as my first point in the 5 things we learned from the Leicester game. We've won 6 out of our last 8 games. It sounds so made up when you say that, man. Let me just pull the results up here again. It really does sound like you're lying. But starting with the Arsenal game there, right? 10 men for 60 minutes. Well, was it 60? Yeah, 60 minutes. We won the game on penalties. Southampton, we were awful for 70 minutes before Ahmad came towards the end and scored a hat-trick in 12 minutes. We got pumped at home to Brighton. We just about beat Rangers. That needed, after conceding a late equaliser, it needed a last-minute winner from Bruno. Away at Fulham, we needed that deflected effort from Martinez, and we weren't in control of that game, really. To a certain degree, but not particularly. Away at Steaua Bucharest, an awful first half. And actually, no, it wasn't an awful first half, but it was a lack of threat. And in the second half, probably one of the best 45 minutes we played this season. Then we get steamrolled at home by Crystal Palace before we just about beat Leicester with the last-minute winner from Maguire. And that's what it's... United fans are remembering the feelings of the performances just as much as we are remembering the results. And that right there is absolute proof, by the way, that results in isolation won't ever be enough for Manchester United. It might be enough for other clubs. It might be enough for them. But it's not enough for United. It's not enough for Ruben Amorim to just get results and win by any measure. The performances are what he wants to see. And that's what he means when he's saying, you can win the FA Cup, man. That won't make it a successful season. And ultimately, when you look back on it, trophies are what defines a successful era. So, like, Mikel Arteta has done a lot of good work at Arsenal. Compare that football club now to when he came in. Are they better? I mean, absolutely. It's not hard to admit that. But they keep falling at the final hurdle. So the success is limited by that. Now, let's find out how the season continues to progress. Now, one more talking point from over the FA Cup games at the weekend. Look, Marcus Rashford made his debut. The annoying thing is that we're going to get this sort of every week now, I think. If when he gets his first assist for Aston Villa, it'll be absolutely everywhere. When he gets his first goal for Aston Villa, oh my God, did Amorim make a mistake? No. It doesn't matter, and I've said this, I'll say it every single week here if I need to. It doesn't matter what Rashford does in a Villa shirt. We weren't gonna see that in a United shirt. And it doesn't matter what he does at Villa. I won't regret United moving him on loan. And I thought he played all right, and it wasn't a surprise to see sort of a re-energized and rejuvenated Rashford, is because he left United. It's like you see Anthony as one man of the match on both of his first 2 games for Real Betis, and he scored his first goal, I think, against Celta Vigo. Of course he did. McTominay got his 7th goal of the season for Napoli yesterday. I think McTominay's just kind of continuing doing what he was already doing at United anyway. But that's cool to see. But you know what the bigger talking point from that yesterday? It's this. And I almost feel like I might have a conversation about this in my lunchtime video. Right? Of course, I'm pointing this out. This comment here from Jadon Sancho, who, of course, is still employed by Manchester United. Yeah. It's like, Sancho is going down. I swear to God, Sancho is going down like the Angel Di Maria path, man. But they can't be. You remember at the time of the fallout? Anyway, I saw that. Don't need to get into all of that. We're here all day. But just the utter contempt of Manchester United that Jadon Sancho has. And Mike, you're saying it's childish. It's not childish, and it's exactly what that comment is there from Ganesh. It's just so unbelievably unprofessional. And you wonder why this dressing room has not acted professional when attitudes like this are just rife. And it's just, I've said that the only way that Ruben Amorim will ever have success as a Manchester United manager is if he has 100% buy-in from the players. And when you see comments like that, freedom, like you were chained up at Manchester United, you couldn't possibly have expressed yourself, and now you're not doing anything at Chelsea either. You're righty-ho. I think it's like the sense of, it's not a sense of self-entitlement. It's almost like it's not even just taking it for granted that you're a professional football player, B, a Premier League player, or C, a Manchester United player. It's just like, it's almost like, I'm too good for it. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just. Gordy is saying, why do players need to be blamed for United ruining their careers? Look at the club. I do always say that players are symptomatic of the football club. But boy, oh boy, there's not a lot of self-reflection there. There's not a lot of inward looking, I think, is the right way to describe it. Anyway, I might do a video on that at lunchtime. I might not, because it depends on what energy I've got to it. And he's saying delusions of grandeur. I think that's a pretty fair way to describe it. But it's just, this is why it was the right call for Sancho to move on. This is partly why it was the right call for Rashford to move on. His heart and his head wasn't in it anymore. And it doesn't matter how good a manager is. It really doesn't. And Ruben Amorim, he is a very good head coach. Proven over years at Sporting. Circumstances are different. Size of the club is different. The players, managing world-class and top, they all come with their different challenges. But I think it just pisses me off, man. Really does. Anyway, let's speak about the game. The game itself was, fire your comments in about the match. I already done my match reaction on Friday, but we can have a quick chat about it now. I think, was I surprised to see United play how we played against Leicester? No. I've seen it lots of times before this season. I'll probably see it plenty more times this season. But it pisses me off every single time. For the first, 60 minutes? When did Sancho, not Sancho, when did Garnacho came on at half time? And he certainly changed how United approached. I'm pretty convinced, by the way. Like, we'll run through Garnacho. We'll have a conversation about Garnacho now. In a bit, actually. He plays with a directness, and I'll tell you what, he's so much better off the bench for United right now. He really, really is. Alex, you're saying got out of jail. It was just... I think part of this, right, for me anyway, and this is why I said, at the start of last week, I said that I was sort of exhausted speaking about United. I felt like I'd sort of reached saturation point. And Amorim must feel like that as well. Like, the tempo in the first 45 minutes, it was 2 miles an hour football. It was everybody shirking responsibility. That's one of the biggest things that we're going to be missing from Lisandro Martinez being injured for the rest of the season, is his bravery and ability to actually play the balls through the lines out from the back three. Because all Leicester were doing was putting a box around Ugarte and Bruno. 2 or 3 players in front, 2 players directly behind. Therefore, they were boxed in, and you can't progress the ball centrally through those 2 players because you've covered those lanes. Just shift left and right, easy. And therefore, you need Yoro or Maguire or Mazraoui to break the lines. And they didn't at any point. Now, look, if you want to focus on the positive from that game, well, we got the last-minute winner. It was a wonderful ball from Bruno, and it was a great header from Maguire, who was, 2 yards offside? Man, if that happened against us, oh my God, I'd be fuming. I would. But it's never going to happen. It's never going to go away now. VAR is just here to stay. But I would much rather be moaning about decisions like that than I would be about moaning on the millimetre lines that are drawn. I don't think the conversation has changed at all. In fact, I think it's just got worse. But with Maguire, that was a big goal for him. And this is why, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I think it was last week. We did our video on, no, it wasn't last week, that was the Ruben Amorim hairdryer one. The United People's Production video was about Maguire and about that resilience that he has shown. And he deserved the praise for that. And fair play to him, because that was a big goal. We needed that. I could not have taken the other half an hour of that game. And you're saying that didn't they later analyse it and find it onside? Mate, that what? It looked well offside. Well offside. But going back to that, it is mad, and I'll say it again. The fact that the conversation among United fans and the feeling among United fans right now is one of like frustration, because we've won 6 in 8. But Amorim wants so much more from this team. So much more. All right, we go over here. I think the performance, we have to do so much better with the ball and without it. We had no energy in the beginning. We turned things around. It's a good result, but not a good performance. When was the last time that United had a good result and a good performance? I'm going to go probably Steaua Bucharest, I think. The first half was kind of similar to how it was in the first half against Leicester. I think we had a bit... we definitely had some more control away at Steaua Bucharest, but we didn't have the quality. The second half was fantastic. The second half was like exactly what... I remember doing the video after. That was exactly what we wanted to see from a Ruben Amorim team. We just kept going forward. We were playing like one-touch football, chance created, chance created, chance created. Jonathan, you're talking about how Mainu looks like he's struggling. Dude, a big reason why we struggled Mainu struggled so much, in my opinion, was because Diogo Dalot was there at left wing back. The last time was 2004. JC, I can see you gifted 20 memberships down there. Welcome back, dude. And as always, helping the community. Wednesday's video should be a good one. You'll enjoy it. I think so anyway. I want to ask this question now, right? I think this is an important question. I'm going to do a video on this week. I don't know whether I'll do it as lunchtime video today, but I'll decide. I want your answers. I asked this on Twitter, so I'll probably pull them all into sort of a video together. What do you think is the reason why United lack the intensity in games, right? There has to be a reason. There is a reason. Is it? No, I'm not saying that these are correct. I'm just saying these are reasons that you could give if you wanted to. It's all down to Ruben Amorim's tactics. If United were playing four at the back, wow, it would be so much better. Is it mentality? Is it fitness? Is it confidence? What is it? Like, seriously, what is it? Because this is the thing that's killing us, really. If anybody, of course, football is about opinions. You're entitled to your opinions. But if you genuinely think that all of a sudden, if United were to play four at the back, that wow, look at how much better we are, mate, you're kidding yourself. You play four at the back and you still play at 2 miles an hour like that, you're still going nowhere. Now, I'm going to go and read some of your comments out and put them on here. Right, let's have a look. Quite a few of you straight away are saying that. Mentality. Alex, you're saying a lack of squad depth? Not sure about that one. Culture, says Ian. I do think that's a big one. Fear of messing up. Someone else down there saying trusting each other. Right, okay. We're running out of room here. We're going to have to go for another one. Why does that go blank? There we go. Players are too cautious. Someone down there. I'll put it down there. I'll put it as the option. Joe, you're saying tactics. Lack of leadership, someone says down there. Right, okay. See if there's any more. Fear of messing up, I suppose, is confidence, right? Players not grasping the system. Either way, you kind of get the point here, right? There's a lot of different reasons, if you wanted to, that you could present. Another one down there from Ross. Misprofiling of players. / the starting 11. Why does that go dark like that? That's strange. Oh, can't spell starting. If this, like this right here, is easily Ruben Amorim's biggest problem. All right, we've spoken about this again quite a lot, and I said, I don't know, maybe considered controversial for me to say it, but if you drop Victor Gyökeres in that team tomorrow, if you drop in Victor Osimhen tomorrow, do I all of a sudden now think that this game against Spurs is going to be totally different? Like, wow, I can't believe... No. So many of the problems would still exist. Because as much as we need a goal scorer, and we do, right? Undoubtedly. I think it's foolish to suggest that all of a sudden our issues wouldn't exist if we had a striker. Yeah, a proper focal point would massively help. I think this is really a big one. And that's what I said about shirking responsibility. And that one there, again, is probably why I would defend Bruno Fernandes. And I will, and I have defended Bruno Fernandes way more than maybe most fans have. Yes, Bruno Fernandes does mess up. Yes, Bruno Fernandes does piss me off sometimes. But I would much rather have a Bruno Fernandes in my team and be frustrated that a ball that he has tried hasn't come off than a player in my team who just doesn't try anything. A player who technically wouldn't do anything wrong, who technically hasn't done anything wrong, but also hasn't done anything to help make United better. Because you need those risk takers. And it is Old Trafford. And I think after the game, Harry Maguire spoke about it again, like the anxiety these players have playing at Old Trafford. Oh, don't know why that word's gone again. There are a lot of potential issues. Akash, I can see you gifting 20 memberships as well. Thank you very much, dude. Alex, we're going to be getting cracking this week on the work with the community, so I'll speak to you at some point. Ganesh, let me read some more of your comments out down here then. And you're saying if we were creating 15 to 20 chances every game, I could buy into the striker mantra, but we're not. A good striker will create his own chances as well as finishing other chances. And that's where Rasmus Højlund has got to improve. For sure he does. But we are still feeding off scraps. Adam, you're saying we need someone to lead the example and lift the team. You can see when Garnacho came on and lifted the crowd, it brought life to the other players as well. Yeah, because Garnacho took on some responsibility. Yeah, give me the ball. I'll run forward. I've got it. I'll carry it forward. And I said this in my match. The lack of ball carrying in this team. And that comes down to fear of messing up, lack of confidence, and probably partly as well, actual ability. You can't help it. You can't help but look at Aston Villa and go, my God, could you imagine how much of a difference a Morgan Rogers style player would make in this team? Somebody who's got kind of pretty much everything you would need from an inside forward. Physically, on and off the ball, phenomenal, quality on the ball, can carry the ball up the pitch 10, 15, 20 yards, maybe even further sometimes. And how much of a difference that would make to the players around him. Actually, having players who want to take on responsibility is such a fundamental problem I think we have. And like if people go, so tactics down there, right? This is a conversation around tactics. This was a really weird graph that The Athletic released over the weekend, right? Who has tweaked their in-game shape most often? You got Nottingham Forest right up there at the top with 19, and you got United down there at the very bottom with one tactical tweak, formation change in game, which I think is definitely wrong because I've watched United sometimes have 3 at the back, sometimes have 5 at the back, and sometimes in or out of possession. I think especially away at Liverpool, we kind of dropped into a slightly different shape. But the point is this. Who else is down there? Bournemouth, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle. So the overwhelming majority of the top teams in the league haven't actually changed their formation. I found that a bit weird. I found that a bit of an odd one. And that's why, for me, I think the suggestion that Ruben Amorim needs to change his system. He needs to adapt to his players. He's got to play 4 at the back, and he has to play 4 at the back to get the results until the results come in, and then you get the performances. I'll be like, lads, we've won 6 out of the last 8 games. Right? It's not about a tactical switch that will get results, that will give him time, and that's what this week is, right? How many times have we heard from Ruben Amorim about the lack of training time that he has had with his team? He constantly says that is the issue. And this, I believe, is going to be the longest gap that Ruben Amorim has had between two games. So between the Leicester game on Friday and the Spurs game on Sunday, that's 9 days. It definitely is. Aside, because he hasn't had an international break. We've also got an international break coming up quite soon as well. I do not want Ruben Amorim to even slightly, not even 1% of me, consider changing that system. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a rebuild right here. And it's very, very easy to say that you are in support of a rebuild when the rebuild's looking good, when things are rosy. But when they're not, that's where things start to waver. I've already said how much I think this shape, this setup, playing 3 at the back, you can tweak it, man. You just push the wing backs forward and all of a sudden you're way more aggressive, or you bring them back and then you drop into a deeper back 5. So the system itself does have flexibility. And that's why I want to have a conversation around Patrick Dorgu. Because it was confusing, all right? It was confusing. It's not the fact that Dorgu has never played on the right-hand side before. He's played loads of minutes. I think he actually might have had more minutes for Lecce this season as a right winger than he has any other position. So in that sense, it wasn't confusing. But in kind of every other sense, it was a bit confusing. Joe, you're saying one player coming in, is it really a big rebuild? Well, it's sort of like an internal rebuild if you want. Doing as much as you can, polishing, cosmetic redecorating, before you can rip out a wall and do something else. That's what the summer is for. But Dorgu is somebody who has come in January and will hopefully make a difference to this team. And what did you think about his debut, and what did you think about him playing on the right-hand side? Let me know in the comments. Takeoff, you're saying the Dorgu debut should tell you everything you need to know about player profiling and having specific players for specific systems. See, when it comes to Dorgu, I see a player whose versatility is absolutely a strength. And even if Ruben Amorim was to go tomorrow and we were to sign a manager, I'm just saying hypothetically here, and we would sign a manager that played 4 at the back, I wouldn't all of a sudden think, oh, great, so now we've got a signing in Dorgu who's not going to fit any other system because we've just specifically signed him to play as a wing-back. I don't think that's the case. Now, in terms of where Dorgu played, I think it was more the fact I wasn't angry that Dorgu played on the right-hand side. I found it very, very confusing. Because if I'm looking at the strengths and the weaknesses of Dalot and Dorgu, I'm putting more of Dorgu's strengths down on that left-hand side, and I'm putting more of Dalot's strengths on that right-hand side. So to flip them and to play them on the opposite, I think we're taking away from both of them. Like, every time that ball went to Diogo Dalot on Friday night, it went backwards. Every time. Now, I'm sure there were a couple of times where it may have snuck forward, but there was no progression on that left-hand side in that first half. None whatsoever. And I don't think Dalot, well, right now, Dalot doesn't have a long-term future with this club, but just get him away from the left-hand side, for the love of God. He's played there as a necessity because Luke Shaw's been injured, Malacia's been injured. We've had nobody who can play on that left-hand side. Play him on the right, and he will be better. It's not particularly hard. Because when I looked at the Amorim system, and I spoke about the Amorim system and the tactics and the approach, the width for Amorim comes in the overlapping wingbacks. That drags the defenders wide, that creates the space for the inside forwards to drift inside. But the width themselves, that comes from the wingbacks. So let Dorgu play on the left so we can use that pitch, run around the outside. Remember that Bale run against Real Madrid? We kicked it on the outside of the pitch and just legged it around. That was sick. I just don't want to see Delo on the left-hand side. Someone saying Ahmad on the right, Dorgu on the left. I'd love to see that. But yeah, I think it was frustrating. That's the way I would describe it. It was frustrating to see Dorgu playing there and confusing. All right. Connie's saying it's about passing angles for retaining the ball. I don't agree with it, but that's why he's doing it. It's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other right now with this team. Because we aren't scoring anywhere near as many goals, Amorim is probably, in fact, he's not happy. He keeps saying it. How much more he needs with the performances. He's not asking his team to play at 2 miles an hour and pass it round the back three to one of the wing backs to then go back around the back three to switch it to the other side and never get any ball through the middle. And so then Bruno Fernandes ends up dropping really deep, kind of sitting in between the two centre-backs to try and get the ball and try and create from deep. That doesn't work either. If I was to say what the biggest issue for Amorim so far has been from a tactical point of view, it's the wing-backs. For sure, it's been the wing-backs. Because we haven't had wing-backs, all right? We haven't had anybody playing that left-hand side. And then finally, when we do have one, he plays him on the right-hand side. That was strange. Chetani saying, is it real that you had a session after the game? That did indeed happen. Right. Summer United squad completed a full training session at Old Trafford following the full-time whistle on Friday. Photos there, that's from the official United account. And I think Rasmus Højlund was involved in this. I might actually try and find some of the videos for it. I'll have a look. But it was confusing, right? I'm going to read some more of your comments out down here. Stefan, you're not happy. You're saying, can't help myself, but I simply don't like Amorim's system or ways. I don't see him staying very long at United. His composure and attitude tells me he is not on top of the game called United and Premier League. And I'd love to know where you've just got that from. His composure, I was actually going to suggest a post for this for the social team. Every time we've scored like a late winner or a banger, like Amorim's just like the measure of calm. He has stayed so steadfast in that I'm happy to stick with my system. I know it is going to work. I'm totally composed. It's the complete opposite of what you're saying there. He is more than composed and calm. But this right here is just going to be the real test, I think, of United fans and a rebuild. Fuck, man. The results are there, but the performances are absolutely non-existent. And then they come back in for 15 minutes, and then they disappear for the next game. And it's almost like trying to hold air. That's what it is when it comes to United and momentum. And that's definitely going to be the most frustrating thing for Ruben Amorim. It's like, how can you do that one week and then that another week? And how can you do that here and then do that there? There's not like a really obvious, clear pattern. It's very, very unpredictable. Do I think that United fans are turning on Amorim? Nah, there's always going to be dickheads, all right? That exists in every part of life. And there will be dickhead United fans now who try and sort of twist the knife with anything that Amorim might get wrong. And there's going to be United, some maybe not even United fans, but just some fans who twist the knife just in case Marcus Rashford has a semi-good performance. Oh, look, he's got it all completely wrong. I thought he made some tactical mistakes against Leicester. As I said, the Dorgu situation was just a weird one. Yeah, Paramount, I think that's a big, big thing. It's about impatience. But on top of that, when you add in the fact that United fans, we've all been waiting 10 years, then that's where the impatience has come from. Wow. That's why this is a big week for Amorim, right? There is 9 days between Leicester and Spurs. If we have 9 days and we go and we play like we did in that first half against Leicester and we do it for the full 90 against Spurs, you can't really argue then it's anything to do with fitness. You can't, because it'd be 9 days between the games. That's when different questions get asked. Because if we don't see the response from the players in those 9 days after all that extra training, then you're going to be looking at it going, well, where's the change going to come from? And Alex, it's not just a case of saying, like, he needs more time. It's not a time thing. It's a buy-in thing. If the players genuinely believe Amorim and they listen to him and they go home and they live like professional athletes, tucked up in bed early, getting up early, putting in the graft away from even the training ground, then I think the performances will start to follow. But we'll find out, all right? I'm going to wrap up in a minute. Last minute or two of the show. Fire in your questions, your comments, anything you think I haven't spoken about here today. But yeah, I'm not sure what my lunchtime video is going to be on today. I might do something around the professionalism at United. I think there's also, this week, we should probably have a conversation around Rasmus Højlund. Because, yeah, he needs to be doing more, but I think with Højlund, it's very much we're just with United strikers. Big up Xerxes, by the way. Right place, right time. I thought it was another good cameo from him. It's just all of our strikers are poor right now. Some of the fan base want our coaches to fail so they can feel vindicated. I don't know whether it's that some of the fans want United coaches or United players to fail, but some people just get a massive kick out of being right and being first to being right. And that's their buzz. Oh, I told you he was crap 4 months ago. Obviously, I was right. Jonathan is saying he didn't want to come mid-season and is experimenting a lot with players, not the system. Yeah, he's doing a lot of experimenting. So many changes. I'll tell you one thing that's helped. Well done, Sam, for jinxing this by mentioning it. I know it's completely my fault. But our injuries, our non-contact injuries, it feels like they've largely gone since Ruben Amorim came in. And a part of that is the fact that we are rotating, that we are chopping and changing, and keeping players as fresh as we can. But yeah, we all want the consistency in the performance. That's the big thing. Every time a tough manager comes in, players seem to down tools after 2 weeks. I don't think it's don't think it's a downing tools. But that there is the $1 million question. Finding the solution to this is when we start to see the performances change and consistency actually come in. Sam, you're saying RE injuries, it seems like the training schedule was different as well under Ruben. Maybe players were overtrained. Well, that was always a sort of question mark as to whether or not we were being overtrained under Erik ten Hag. I don't know what the ins and outs. Of course, I'm not at Carrington every day. I don't know how the training sessions are by comparison. But whatever it is, it's certainly working. I think so anyway. It's going to take time and a lot of time for the United squad to actually be completely fit. Mamu saying the under-18s against Liverpool was more interesting. Yeah, unfortunately, they conceded an 89th minute equaliser, I think. Under-18s got a tough season ahead now to win. I think they're 3 points behind City with a game in hand. I think so. I don't quite know. But look, thank you all for tuning in for the conversation. I'll be here tomorrow. It's going to be a big, big week. As I said, we all need to see that performance difference. And that's what Sunday is going to be a lot about the performance. Of course, the result will be important, but it's how do United play? All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like on the video, and I'll be back at lunchtime with another video as always. Take it easy.